chest, breathing into the left hand. Really using the hands as a marker, as a guide for where your breath can go, as a reference point. There you go. That's a good word. Take another breath like that, fill up. And release. Maybe take a couple open mouth exhales. So same idea, fill up into the belly, then the chest. Exhale, release out the mouth. So it goes like this. Inhale. That's one. We'll take two more just like that. Inhale. Close the mouth and focus the breath out of the nose. If you practice Ujjayi, now's the time to let that turn on. If you have an intention you want to set for class, allow that to come to mind. And we'll carry that intention with us to the top of the mat. And maybe your intention today is just to complete practice. Maybe it's to find a little bit of connection with breath and movement. Or maybe it's just to really deepen the mind-body connection. And maybe it's none of those. Because maybe you don't have one. I don't know. But I will say that having one gives you some place to, gives you a north star to guide you back in your practice, depending on where your mind chooses to go. We're going to take a couple half salutations to wake up the body and really deepen that vinyasa, that connection to breath and movement. Inhale, reach the hands up overhead. Extend out long through the fingertips. As you exhale, draw the belly button in, hinge at the waist, and fold forward. When you inhale, your crown of the head reaches forward, your hips go back, your spine lengthens. As you exhale, you fold, chest comes in towards the thighs. As you inhale, you pull all that energy in, reach the hands up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale. Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, fold. Lengthen. Fold, bend knees if you need to. Use blocks or books to bring the floor up to you if you're still tight in the hamstrings. Inhale, root down to rise. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. As you exhale, hands come to heart center and hold. Surya Namaskar. Sun salutation A is where we will go to begin. Inhale. Exhale. Spine length through the spine on the inhale. Fold. Step the right foot back. Step the left foot back. Find your first plank pose. Hands will come under the shoulders. Heels press out. Thighs pull together. Belly button into spine. Push the mat away. Actively round through your back. Think cat pose in the back. Maybe rock on the toes a little bit. Shift your weight forward so it comes slightly over the wrist and then back. And then forward. And then back. Lower all the way down to your belly. We're going to take a low cobra, hands in line with the chest, elbows push towards the back of the room. Now, often I'll see things like this, which is a form of cobra. You don't have to take the super deep cobra this first time, though. Try to keep it low. I want you just to lightly lift the heart, press the tops of the feet into the mat, and draw the hands back. Use the strength of the back. That's why you should be able to float your hands here, because your thoracic spine should be holding you up. Lower down. Inhale to tabletop. Exhale to child's pose. Inhale to tabletop. Exhale, find down dog. First downward facing dog of class makes it your very active downward facing dog. Make sure the weight is in the index and thumb of the hand, really trying to draw it towards the center. Elbows are wrapping back towards the back of your mat. Head is hanging heavy between the arms. Eye gaze at your belly button or down at your mat. Heels are maybe elevated or lifted. You can pedal the legs. Get you some movement here. And then find some steadiness, find some center, find some stillness. Lift the heels, look forward, bend the knees, and then step all the way to the top. When you inhale, you reverse and come out. Your fingers touch. Exhale, slight back bend. Take it up on the inhale. Bring it back down as you exhale. Find length through the spine. Exhale, step the left foot back. Right foot back. Immediately lower down. Hands in line with the inhale. Lengthen the heart. Exhale, fold. Come down. This is me double checking. Sorry, I got a phone call, so I just needed to make sure it didn't mess up the video. Hands in line with the chest. We were at cobra. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, lower down. Tuck the toes. Press it up to tabletop. Exhale, drop the hips. Child's pose. Inhale, tabletop. Tuck toes. Exhale, lift hips. Find your down dog. Inhale. Exhale. Lift heels, bend knees, look forward. Step the left foot to the front of the mat. Walk it up. Easy to go this first round. Really waking up the body, letting everything start to come alive. Maybe we pause here in Uttanasana, bend the knees, reach for opposite elbows, dangle, let the head hang heavy, look behind you. Inhale, reverse swan dive, come all the way out. Reach the hands up overhead. Exhale, let's add on here. Bringing in some twisting, really starting to open up the body a little bit more. Inhale, reach the hands up. We'll introduce chaturanga in this next set. Exhale, fold. Lengthen on the inhale. Exhale. Fold down. Step the right foot back, followed by the left. Plank pose. Chaturanga or low push-up is you start in plank pose. You shift forward, your shoulders come over the wrists. You draw your elbows back towards the back of the mat so that the triceps are wrapping back. And you bend the arms, you keep them close to the ribs, and you lower halfway down, just like this. You untuck your toes, you lift your heart, you find upward facing dog, or Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. You use the core to lift the hips, you push into the hands, and you find Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Right leg elevates and reaches up towards the ceiling. Come high on the ball of the left foot. As you exhale, draw right knee in towards your nose. Inhale, straightens. Exhale, right knee to left elbow. Inhale, straightens. Exhale, right knee, right elbow. Take it back on the inhale. Exhale, through. Find a runner's lunge. Crown of the head extends out. Think a long line from the tailbone to the crown. Left hand comes down onto a block if you got it, or a book. Right hand onto your hip, lengthen and twist. Keep twisting until you feel like you can maybe open up through that right side. Keep activation in the bottom hand as you do. Draw that right hip in towards the center of your mat. Breathe. Slowly lower that right hand down. Move your block out of the way. Step that left foot up to meet it. Inhale, come up. Exhale, hands to heart center. We reset. We do the next side. We begin again. Inhale. Exhale. Find your length. Exhale, fold. Now you can step back to plank and lower to chaturanga, or if you choose to hop back and land in chaturanga. So when you're jumping back, think about your chest going forward, your feet going back. So inhale, lengthen again. Exhale, step or float it back to chaturanga. Upward facing dog. All that floating stuff, it's just options. Stepping back and lowering down is equally as hard. Inhale, left leg lifts. Point through the left toes. Come high on the ball of the right foot. Press into the right big toe. Exhale, left knee rounds in towards the nose. Inhale, takes it back. Exhale, cross the body with the left knee. Touch the right elbow or tricep. Take it up on the inhale. One more time. Left knee, left tricep or left elbow. Inhale, lifts. Exhale, steps through. Right hand on the block. Left hand reaches up or stays right here, working the twist. Don't allow that left knee to spin out. Pull everything in. Slowly bring it down. Block comes out of the way, shift forward, right foot comes up to meet left. Forward fold. Inhale. Reverse it up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Deva Namaskar is next on the list. We will flow to get there. Take one breath per movement. And then we will arrive in Deva Namaskar. Inhale, hands rise. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, step back, plank pose. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, Lower halfway. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, knee to nose. Step it through. Inhale. Twist to the right. Exhale, come down. Inhale, find crescent lunge. Push out through the back of that left foot. Make sure that front leg is nice and parallel, pressing into the big toe of the right foot, drawing the left hip back, and tailbone down, pubic bone up, belly button in, hands overhead. Sink a little deeper. Sink a little deeper. Keep sinking. Start to bend your back knee. Keep lowering. Keep lowering. Keep lowering. Untuck the toes. Let the back foot go flat. Interlace the fingers. Keep the biceps by the ears. Keep the chin tucked into the chest. Extend up for length. As you exhale, humbly, peacefully, with strength and gratitude, bow forward. Forehead finds the knee, hands stay together or separate. Lift up through your pelvic floor. Draw your belly button in and under the ribs. Keep your chin tucked into the chest. Slight constrictions here. Maybe you start to feel a bit of heat as the breath catches up with the movement. Release anything, breath, thoughts that don't serve the present. Be here in this moment. As you inhale, bring the hands back together. Start to lift them up and out. As you exhale, take a shift of the hips forward. Allow that left psoas to open up. Small back bend as you exhale. Straightens the right leg. Half splits. Slowly come back to your lunge. Lift your left knee. Step your right foot back. Plank pose. Shift forward. Bend the arms. Lower halfway down. Lift the heart. Find your Urdhva Mukha. As you exhale, find your Adho Mukha. Inhale, right leg floats up. Exhale, knee to nose. Step it through. Wiggle the toes back. Get ready for your crescent lunge. It's good to set up strong here, so really think about activating that right leg. Press down to rise up. Feel the stability and strength in the legs as the hands get light and reach overhead. Slowly start to bend that right knee. Keep the hands together. Keep the bind. Reach up. Extend up. Keep going down. Feel like you're being pulled between heaven and earth. Lower that right knee down. Keep that stability. Untuck the right toes. Press that right foot down into the mat. Once you're grounded, you can sway the upper part of the body by rounding forward. Forehead finds the knee or hands separate to frame the foot. Hands come back to frame the foot. Take an inhale breath. Come all the way up. Hands reach overhead and extend up. They stay there. hold them with patience and grace. Start to shift your hips forward, shift your hips forward. Bring your elbows into your ribs, lift your heart, sternum towards the sky. Inhale, straightens the left leg, flex through the left toes, press the left heel into the mat. Come into your half split. Ardha Hanumanasana. Shift forward, find your lunge. Tuck the right toes, lift the right knee, right hand onto the mat. Take an inhale, twist to the left. Lower left hand down. Step right foot up. Let it meet left, forward fold. From here, we are going to work on Padahastasana, hand to foot pose. You can stay at the front of your mat. I'm turning around for demo purposes. So from here, bend the knees, lower the hips. Often I see legs straight. This gets easier when the hips bend. From here, I want you to lift your toes off of the mat. Bring your palm face up underneath, just like this. Yep, with the knees bent. Chin tucks into your chest, you look behind you, and maybe this is where you're at, getting a lot of compression with the chest pressing into the thighs, or you start to pull the elbows out, and you reach the head down, and you lift the hips up, and you shift the weight forward. Slowly take a couple more breaths here, maybe 2 or 3 more. Relax the knees so that you can release the hands. Bring the hands onto the hips. Take an inhale, come all the way up. Ardha Chandrasana, standing half moon, working open into the side body. Reach the hands up and overhead. Grab the right hand or right wrist with the left hand. Reach the hand up, extend up, go up. As you exhale, start to lean to the right, left, your other right. Draw your right shoulder back, left shoulder forward. Press into the outer edge of the right foot. Squeeze and activate the right quad. Draw the right outer hip in. Two more breaths. Inhale, come back to center. Don't let the arms drop. Switch hands. Grab your left wrist with your right hand. Push up towards the ceiling. And then lean to the right. Draw that left shoulder back. Lift your chin, expose it. Open the throat chakra, reach with the fingertips. That communication, that ability to not stay quiet, to not go humbly into the night, as they say. Some of y'all need to close your throat chakra. You talk too much. Most of us don't. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, fold. Padahastasana from the back this time. As you bend the knees, hands come behind. Reach for opposite elbows. Wrists. Grab a towel. Any of these work. And if you really want to feel compressed, hook the heels with the hands. Yep. And then start to straighten the legs. This one's a lot. So if you start here and then you need to dial it down, totally get that. Find what works for you. Create the activation in your body. Pay attention to if you can breathe or not. If you can't breathe, you might be too deep. Come on back. Slowly start to release whichever variation you have. Come up to stand. We're going to take a controlled back bend. Hands come onto the low back. Fingertips touch. Thumbs go out to the side. Notice how your elbows naturally do this. Bring them in. You can also bring the hands on the low back like this or like this. Either options are fine. But I want you to actively pull your elbows back so that you press your sternum forward. From there, root down into your feet. Ball of the big toe presses into the mat. Inner thighs suck in towards the center of your mat. Lift up through your sternum. Press your hips lightly forward. Draw your tailbone down and keep this rounding. You want to try to use your whole spine in your back bends, not just the part that bends. Lift up and keep going back, reaching back, dropping the head back, pushing the hips forward. When you find your spot, you stay there. You breathe. And then you bring it back. Let the chest drape down. Hands touch the mat. Step it back. Find your plank pose. Shift forward. Bend your arms. Take your chaturanga. Inhale. Lift your heart for upward facing dog. As you exhale, pull it back for down dog. Heels together. Hands stay active. Going to move into some warrior. This is nice. But let's play with the hips a little bit. Internal, external rotation of the hips is always nice. Inhale. Right foot to hip height. Keep that foot flexed like you're trying to push the back wall away. But don't let your hands dump down. We're not going in a dolphin. This is a lot of work. But keep it. You got it. Lower the toes down for 1. Bring it back. Lower them down for 2. Bring it back. Lower them down for 3. Bring it back. Point the toes this time. Point, 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 and then elevate, 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 elevate. Bend knee. Open hip. Externally rotating. Don't let your shoulders sag. Straighten the front part of your body. Twist and open everything from the waist down. As you exhale, step the right foot through. Yep. Use that momentum to get that foot to the front of the mat. Some people don't like it. I like it. Until you build the strength, it's a good way to get things to work. Look at the heels. I like heel to heel alignment. Some people like heel to arch alignment, and some people like wider stances. Find one for your legs. Your left toes point towards the left edge of your mat. Sweep the left hand back and the right hand forward. Drop into your warrior 2. Starting with your hands. Don't do this. Do this. Then push your heart forward and pull your shoulder blades together. Nice. Now, draw your tailbone down. Lift your pubic bone up and pull your belly button in. Sink a little deeper into your warrior. Hold all that activation, that energy. It's not easy. It wasn't meant to be. Inhale, straightens that right leg. Reach the right hand up. Take a reverse triangle, Virapita Trikonasana. As you exhale, bend your right knee, turning it into a reverse warrior. Virapita Virabhadrasana. That left hand can stay sliding down the leg, or you can bind it behind the back, reaching for that right hip crease. Inhale, straightens, right leg. Reach the right hand forward like you're offering your heart or offering something to someone in front of you. Slowly let that right hand come down onto your shin, ankle, foot, or block. the inside or outside of the leg. I prefer outside, but that's just me. Whatever helps you keep your alignment. And then float the left hand up. Drawing that left outer hip in, pushing down through the outer edge of that left foot. Plugging that left femur back, active in that back leg. Lifting that right quad, pushing into the right big toe for the front leg. Eye gaze at your thumb. Slowly start to lower that left hand down. Notice that your hips naturally pivoted and twisted, which is totally fine. I'm in a pyramid pose here. You can bend your knee. You'll find your lunge. Right foot steps back. If you want fun, float the right leg through your chaturanga. Shift forward, bend the arms. Inhale. Find your upward facing dog. My leg's still lifted. Maybe yours is too. Tuck the toes. Exhale. And you're right back where you started. Lower right foot down. Upward facing dog. Let's get in that left side. Make it work. Inhale. Hip height though. That internal rotation. Right here. Lower the toes down. Bring it back. Lower them down. Bring it back and hold. Point. Straighten. Lift. Lift. Bend. Knee. Level off shoulders. Look forward when you find your next exhale. Bring it all the way up, through. Might have been a stretch if you needed to lower down to get there. Cool. Drop your right heel. Turn your right toes towards the right edge of your mat. Reach your left hand forward. Draw your right hand back. There's your warrior two. Foundation is set. Right leg turns on. Press into the outer edge of the right foot. Draw the right femur back. Draw your tailbone down. Lift your pubic bone up. Draw your belly button in. Engage your pelvic floor, your mula bandha. Press your heart forward. Pull your shoulders back. Reach out through your hands. Straighten your left leg and reach your left hand up. Your right hand slides down. Reversing that triangle. Next exhale, drop it back into warrior two. Sink it even deeper than your last warrior. Reverse your warrior. Left hand up. Right hand can come behind the back, reaching for that left hip crease in the bind. Really try not to come out of this pose. Sink a little deeper. Inhale, straightens. Left leg. Offer that left hand forward. Keep coming through. If you're using a block, make your adjustments. Get your blocks. If you're not using a block, that's cool. Hand on your shin. Often we go for the big toe. I don't like it because it sinks me too far down. I want to have control. If you know me, you know that makes sense. I'm a complete control freak. Funny thing is, I do all this work to be in control, but the reality is I don't have control over shit. I do that because it makes me feel better. Also helps me, my anxiety calm down. Plus, taking action is always better than inaction, in my humbled opinion. One more breath. Slowly let that right hand come down. Block sets off to the side. We'll play with that in a minute. Bend that left knee, find that lunge. Hands down, left foot back, float it if you're playing. Shift forward, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Float the leg if you can. Take your down dog. And take 3 nice breath cycles here in down dog. Child's pose too, if you need it. Right here, always available. We still got work to do, so. I'm just doing some shoulder pumps because I have crazy tight shoulders. So anytime I can work on my shoulders, I'm going to do that. You don't have to do this. All right. Meet me back in down dog, wherever you are. Inhale, right leg elevates. Exhale, externally rotate, open up that hip. Step that right foot underneath the heart, so about mid-mat-ish. Turn your left toes out 45 and straighten your right leg. We're taking Parvita Trikonasana, so twisted triangle. I like that with a block. Your hand stays on the shin if you're rocking without a block, so totally fine. I like it on a block. All right, right hand on your hip. Right hand on right hip, I should say. Come up. Okay. Once you come up, first thing to do is check your hips, right? I kind of want you to level them out if you can. So that might mean changing your footwork up a little bit, which is fine. You can do that. You don't need my permission to make your footwork more comfortable. Just do that. Right hand on your hip, reach your left hand up for the ceiling. You're extended out through that left hand. It's an active reach. Hinge at your waist. I like to use my right hand as a guide just to make sure my hips don't run away. Keep the front leg straight. Reach the left hand forward. Look down at your big toe. Lift your right quad. Push in through. Push down into your back heel. Should feel like work. Lift the hand up a little more. And now keep coming on down. Keep coming on down. Let the block, hand come onto the block. So block has 3 settings: high, medium, low. Find the one that works for you. I like to keep lengthen my spine, so I use high. Inhale, lengthen. So reach the head forward so the spine is straight. Then as you exhale, you start to twist, twist, twist. If your knee starts to bend, come back a little bit out of your twist. You want to keep the straight leg, you want to keep the twist, and then you want to reach up. You don't have to do all this stuff with your hand. I just did. So back out of that twist. That can be an intense one. Move your block out of the way. Keep your hands on your hips. Fold up with the flat back. Press into your right heel so much that the right toes elevate. Spin towards the back of your mat. Reach the hands up and overhead. Interlace the fingers, biceps stay by the ears. Bend your left knee like in a shortened warrior. Dandayamana Bibhaktapada Janusha Shasana, or standing forehead to knee pose. Reach up and do exactly what the name says. Tuck the chin into the chest, round and curl, bring your forehead to your knee, just like you did in Deva Namaskar, bowing humbly. Only now you have further to go. Hands can be here, active if they are, or they can be here. If your forehead touches, start to straighten your leg. That's not a requirement though, so don't worry about that. This is plenty of work. Everything feels tight and constricted. See how my back leg wants to chill? Nope, no chill in that. Lift that right quad. Push into that right foot. Press into that right big toe. Let those hands find one another again. Push down to come up. Straighten the left leg. Push into the left heel so that the left toes float. Pivot and rotate. As you exhale, bring the hands behind the back. Strap, towel, reach for opposite wrist or elbows. Notice that your shoulders internally naturally rotate. So you're going to have to externally rotate them open. Bring them out wide, elbows out wide. Reach the heart forward. Reverse prayer works here too. Also, this is about keeping the front leg straight so that you can create an intense stretch towards the back hamstring in Parsvottanasana. Intense forward bend. Should feel a little intense, as the name suggests. Reach it out. Start to lower the heart down. Chin to shin, nose to toes. Chest to thigh if you can get it. Try to keep this leg straight. Often I see it bent. That's because the hamstring's like, yeah, I don't want to do that. So back out. Sometimes you got to go slow to go fast. First time I heard that from my running coach, I was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That's not true. It's really smart advice, actually. Slowly release the hands down onto the mat. Shift the weight forward, bend the knee, step it back, find your down dog. Take a vinyasa if you want to take a vinyasa. Stay in down dog if you want to stay in down dog. Do so with breath and intention, mindfully. We all meet in down dog before we get into that next side. Left leg elevates. Push into your right big toe. Lift your right heel off the ground. Give yourself some space. Exhale, bend knee, open hip on that left leg. Step that left foot underneath the heart. Turn the right toes out 45. Find that block again. Bring that hand onto that left hand on the left hip. Come on up. Right hand reaches up. Left hand draws back. Reach that right hand forward as you hinge at the waist. Yeah, there you go. Slowly start to bring the block down. Find your setting. Get your length through your spine. Twist and turn to the left. Check your legs. Make sure they didn't adjust. Put them back where you need them to be. Twist some more with the exhale. And then maybe you float the left hand. Maybe you don't. Slowly unwind. Block goes out of the way. Hands come onto the hips. Find length. And come up. Press into the heel, lift the left toes. It's a pivot and rotate. Right foot forward, left foot back. That's how you know you're where you're supposed to be. Once you know you're directionally there, think about how to activate. Hands come up. Let that core work. Let that help you. As you exhale, bend into your right knee. Yep, and then start to reach the hands out. If you go out, it forces you to push down into your back foot, and it helps you to round down with control. Here or here. Here or here. You notice that I can go straight with the leg, but I don't, because I can't breathe well. And so I still want to be able to breathe through the moves.
Hands come back together. Press down into the feet. Use that energy to come all the way up. Straighten the right leg. Pivot and rotate so that you're back facing the front of your mat. Reach your hands behind your back. If you choose reverse prayer because your shoulders are open enough for that, great. If not, grab opposite wrists or grab opposite elbows. Lift up through the heart. As you exhale, lean the chest forward. Let the eye gaze drape down towards the big toe. Keep that left leg straight. Don't bend it. I know you want to, but don't. Hold halfway here just like I am. Often we go straight into it, but if you hold here, you're going to really work the transverse abdominis, your deep muscles, your deep core muscles. You're going to turn them on and activate. You're going to have to use Mula Bandha. You're going to have to use Uddiyana Bandhas, those root locks to hold energy. Also, another way to think about it is they stabilize the body so that you can stay in a weird shape like this. Now, if you relax them, you can continue hinging. And now that stretch starts to get into that back of that leg, and maybe the leg wants to straighten and run away from it. But rather than running into it, can you hug it with compassion and hold it? I see you. I'm not afraid of you. I love you. I can handle this. Slowly release the hands down. Shift forward. Step the left foot back. Down dog, your vinyasa if you want it. Take it. Shift forward. Slow lower. We all mean a down dog. Bend the knees, lower the hips, come into this low squat position. And you're going to use this just like a spring. If you're stepping forward, step forward. But if you're hopping, think about kicking yourself in the butt and sending your hips forward before coming down. You didn't have to do that little float thingy. It's more about the action of getting the hips forward. Inhale. Hands come up. Exhale. Hands to heart center. All right. Utkatasana. Aqua chair pose. We still got stuff to do. So let's get into this balancing part of the series, and then we'll take it down to the mat. We'll stretch it out with the pigeon stuff, and we'll wrap it up. We'll call it good. 90 minutes in the books. And you're doing great. Stay with me. All right. From mountain pose. Feet roughly hips distance apart. If you want to block to give you an idea, that's good. If you want to keep the block, that'll help teach you how to engage the thighs a little bit. If you want that, need that lesson. And then I want you to start to bend into the knees and sit the hips back. Get as low as you can. Reach the hands up. And then sit a little lower. Squeeze the inner thighs. Find your steadiness in your breath. If you need to bring the hands to heart center, do that. Sit a little deeper. Inhale, straighten the legs. Exhale, cactus the arms. Inhale. Exhale. Shift the weight into the heels so much so that the feet start to lift off of the mat. Sit a little deeper. Reach a little more forward. Sit a little more deeper. Reach a little more forward. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, reach the hands up. Exhale, bend the knees. Shift forward, lift the heels. This is the fun one. Sit a little deeper. Hands to heart center, shake a little bit. Hold a little more. When you're ready to get out of it, don't. Straighten the legs. Exhale, cactus the arms. Inhale, hands to heart center. Turn to the right. Dandayamana Vibhaktapada. Paschimottanasana. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, fold. Tense forward stretch facing west. Hands grab the outer edges of the feet. Eye gaze is at the belly button. We're looking directly behind you. If you want to open the shoulders, bring the hands behind the back. Start to elevate the hands away from the sacrum and bring them overhead. If this is too intense, don't worry about it. Keep them right here. If you have a headstand, this is where you can take it. Tripod headstand. It's available to you. Take it. Just make sure your hands come behind you. You want to think about a triangle. So with your head being the top point, your hands being the base. If you're in headstand, come on down. Everybody will stand on the inhale. Hands to heart center. Step your left foot to the back of the mat, and that's where you'll find yourself. So we're going to take Dandayamana Dhanurasana, standing bow pulling pose. If you have a strap, that's what I was looking around for. Don't really have one down here, but if you had one, now's the time to grab it. We'll start with our right leg. So, first things first, if we look at how the pose breaks down, I want you to think about it this way. You're working into a back bend, a balance pose, and a hip opening pose. So you're really going to be working on those three areas. So if any one of those are challenging, it's going to add some interesting things to your movements. So be mindful of that. Find your drishti, your eye gaze looks forward at a nice still focal point. Reach your left hand up. Bend your right knee and grab the inside. So this part, grab here. See, like that. Okay, knees together. This is the initial pose. From here, it's about opening up. And to open up, you're going to find length first. And you're going to do that with your breath. Fill up into your chest. Pause and hold that breath. Now just reach your left hand forward and kick your right foot up. And then it's a kick and reach. You can breathe again if you needed that reminder. But if you just kind of let it happen, it'll do its thing. That breath, that initial breath, helps you to stretch and find length. Keep that kicking and reaching. Try not to look down. Try to look out or look forward. That way your chest stays level. Hamstring flexibility determines how pretty this looks. Whatever pretty is in your mind. We all have a different vision of what that is. And then slowly come out. Right foot comes down. Now, if you couldn't grab your shin, ankle, or foot, that strap I talked about, that's where you would use the strap to grab your foot. Your hand would stay in the strap. You'd still perform the same actions. So, all right, left side. Right foot steps forward so that it's nice and active. Bend left knee. not out here. Grab in here. That'll open up the shoulder. Notice how my shoulder can't really move because I can't externally rotate it when I'm grabbing the outside of my foot. So get the inside of it so that it externally opens up the shoulder. Right hand up. Find your lift. Elevate. Kick and reach. Oh, if you fall out, come back. Redo the pose. If you're at home, which most of you are, grab your wall, bring it into play. You use that to help you get your balance. It takes out one part of it so you can focus on the actions. And you don't have to focus on the balance and all the other things I'm asking of you. Slowly start to come down. All right. Next pose we're going to take is eagle into warrior 3. So for those who might not know what warrior 3 is, or Tula Dandasana, standing stick pose, it's thought that was going to go much smoother than it did. All right. It is this or this or this, but it's some variation of that with whatever hand action you can get down with today. An eagle pose is a chair pose with the legs and the arms wrapped. So let's start with just eagle. So like I said, chair pose. Now some people do this, like to do this a little bit faster. That doesn't really work for me. But if you do, if you're one of those people who like to wrap it up, we're going to wrap our arms up. So find chair pose. Right arm is under. Left arm on top. Right hand grabs left thumb. If this is too much to wrap the arms like this, give yourself a really big hug. All right, cool. Once you decide on what you're doing with your hands, right leg is on top. Point the toes. Don't round down. Lift up. Sit down. That's it. And balance. Point the toes if they don't hook like mine. One day they might. Mine probably never will, because these things are ginormous. And I don't let that happen. And that's all right. I'm good with that. Be comfortable with what your body gives you to work with. It is your body. You only get one of them. But don't forget, it's only one part of who you are. It isn't who you are. All right. Come out of your eagle pose. Get back to a comfortable center. Take your chair pose. Left arm crosses the body, right arm crosses. Grab the thumb, cross the leg, complete your eagle pose. Don't round forward. I mean, there's a time for that. Now's not the time. Sit up tall, sit a little deeper. And then unwrap, hands at heart center. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. Only instead of unwrapping and coming back to stand, you're going to add that warrior 3 in that I showed you. So we're going to go from one right into the other. That's how we're going to transition it out. Okay. Inhale, hands up, sit it down, chair pose. Right arm crosses, left arm crosses. Hook it up, cross the leg, sit it down. Lift up through the chest, sit it down. Get stable with the left foot. I like to uncross my leg first, send my arms out to the side, and now shoot the leg back level like we did in that internal rotation exercise, because that's exactly what it is. Eye gaze looks down. Push out through your right heel. Engage your right quad. Let your muscles help. Press into your left big toe. Keep the hands where they are, or play with any of those variations in front of you at your heart center. Try to breathe. Try to find your steady, and then stand up.
If you really want fancy, you try to bring the right foot forward and hover it. So many places you can go, right? Like you can do things. As your balance improves, don't ever stop. Finding places to grow. Finding places to go in your practice. Hell, in your life. Good is the enemy of great. All right. Center your mat. Reach your hands overhead. Bend your knees. Find your chair pose. Cross the left hand, then the right. Left leg crosses on top of right. Eagle it out. Lift the heart. Sit a little lower. Nice. All right. Steady in the right foot. Unwrap the hands. Heart forward. Left foot actively pushing back. Start to stand. Straighten the leg through if you got it. And bring it down. Beautiful. One final pose, and then we'll take it down to the mat, end it out. Vrikshasana or tree pose. We'll balance on the left leg. So right toes will come out. Let them come to your ankle. Let them come to your calf. Let them come to your inner thigh. All these are variations of tree, whichever one works better for you. Think about opening up that right knee towards the side. For me, that's towards the front of my mat because the way I'm standing. For you, it should be towards your right side if you're standing in the middle of your mat. Grow your branches. Start to play around. Float your tree. Grab your toe. Turn it into something else. It's your pose. If you fall out, come back into it. Just know that there's no failing. There's only growing, redoing, retrying, reintroducing yourself to new poses. Meet me back in mountain pose. This practice is an opportunity to meet the same practice with new energy, with new vision, with new purpose. What does that do to your practice when you show up that way, with that mindset set? Left toes go out, bring them in. Ankle, calf, inner thigh, whatever's working for you on your side. Half lotus if you got it. I don't, so you won't see that from me. Maybe you start to float it, start to play. Have fun with it. And if you fall out, meet yourself with grace and compassion. Come back. Come back to it. And meet me back in mountain pose. Bring your hands to heart center. Bow with an attitude of gratitude and a bit of humbleness to those beautiful legs and feet that have sustained you for the last hour and change.
that have given you the freedom of movement. Slowly come into downward facing dog. And we'll get into a pigeon pose. Right leg lifts. Right knee, right elbow, lower down. Wiggle left toes back. You can take this block, slide it under your right hip if your hip's elevated. Not a requirement, but it helps to keep the hips level. You can keep that right heel closer to your center of your body, or you can move it more a little bit far forward if you'd like. If you're playing in your mermaid, you can bend your back leg, work on reaching back for that foot, adding a bit of a quad stretch in. If you're not doing that and you're just here to have a nice, comfortable pigeon, come forward, drop the head down. Maybe you use your block or your block-like. Oftentimes we will show up and we will be somewhere. Physically, we are there. But mentally, we are anywhere but there. We are separated. Our mind and our bodies are no longer doing the same thing. Part of this practice is that we help to introduce you to the idea that the mind and the body are intertwined. They are connected. Because if you aren't awake to the idea that you can physically be in a place and mentally not, yoga is designed to help you to come back to that connection. Slowly start to come out of your pigeon if you're lying forward in it. Move the block from underneath your hip if you placed it there so that you can lower down onto your right hip. Swing your left foot towards the front of your mat. Bring your sole of your right foot down so that you end up with your left foot forward, your right foot flat. Your right hand comes behind you. This right foot can be on the inside edge of your left leg. Take your left hand and grab your right shin. Notice how that helps you sit up tall a bit. Take an inhale breath. Reach the hand up. As you exhale, twist, and maybe you hook that left elbow outside of that right thigh and you look over that right shoulder. And then it's about working the twist with each exhale. Ardha Matsyendrasana, half Lord of the Fishes, as they say. This pose is about twisting and binding and turning and working your way through a situation. The namesake for this pose. That's what he had to do to get out of the belly of a fish or something. Metaphorically, that means you've got to learn how to deal with the twists and turns of life and goals and situations that you're working for. Slowly start to unwind.
Open the left leg out to the side and work yourself so that you're in a wide-legged shape just like this. Often we want a straight line from point A to point B, but if anybody out there has been chasing something and trying to accomplish something, you will know that it is never, I did A, I got B. It's like I did A, and I had to go 17 different ways to get to B. And if I really wanted it, I did that. And if I didn't, maybe I quit, maybe. So, nothing wrong with that. Just saying that's sometimes how it goes. All right, slowly. Come onto the heels of both legs so that the knees are bent. So you're in this bent, wide-legged position. Find some length in your spine. And then I just want you to start to reach forward, trying to stretch your inner thighs. So everything from the inside of your knee towards your groin is what we're working on getting into. Don't worry if you don't come all the way forward. I would rather you find length in your spine rather than drawing your tailbone down and rounding. See if you can sit up a little tall. All right. Now I want both knees to drop to the left. Woo. So you're in this 90-90 position. We're going to work in the pigeon from here, so straighten the right leg. If you were using a block on this left side, slide it under the hip. Once you get your legs where you want them. Then decide if you're going to add a quad stretch in maybe. Play with your mermaid action if you want that. Or if you just want to come back. It's just a gentle hip opener. Anytime we start to play in our hips, a metaphorical container of our emotions, we have to be mindful of what might happen or what might arise. Honestly, anything could show up. There's so much that lives there. If there's one pose that might make you feel some type of way, it's certainly this one. But again, as warriors, we don't run from that challenge. We look at the fear, we look at the pain, we look at the uncertainty, and we open our hearts with love and compassion, and we hold it. If you hold it long enough, something interesting happens. It transforms, it changes, it becomes different. But you have to sit with it. Even if it feels really big and really loud. All you need to do is once you know that you can, possibilities become super endless. Start to come up. If you have the block underneath your hip, remove it. Right leg comes around. Left foot comes down onto the mat. Right leg is extended. Left hand comes behind you. Right hand grabs left shin. There's your length. Start to work your chest towards the left a little. This will help set you up. Lift up again. Reach up this time. Hook and twist. Look over your left shoulder.
Slowly let yourself come out of that twist and roll it on down onto your back. Maybe you draw the knees in. Rotate the feet. Soles of the feet come onto the mat. We'll continue giving some love to that outer hip. Right leg on top of left thigh. Sole of left foot on the mat. Right hand, push that left knee or right knee away. This might be it for some of us, and that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Otherwise, look up. You made a hole there. You can slide your hand in it. Maybe you grab the back of your left thigh or your left shin. Keep your right foot flexed. Don't let it do this. Do this. And then start to pull that shin in towards your chest. This is always a good one. If you don't like that flavor, there's another way to get into this. You can come up, actually, and bring your hands behind you. It does the exact same thing. It just might feel a little more intense. If you like this one. This is more my favorite position when I do this pose because it also enables me to do this. I can take my right arm around my right leg, take my left around my foot, and I can kind of cradle my leg. This is nice for if you have a Ashtavakrasana, 8-limb pose. This is a nice way to start to get in there if you want compass or any leg behind the head stuff. This is a good way. This is a super intense way too. So again, doesn't have to be everybody's flavor. I just like to show you your options. Take any one of the choices I just gave you. Totally fine. You're not going to be wrong because what's right for me may not be right for you, and that is the challenge of yoga, is helping everybody find that version for their bodies that feels right for you that day, that moment. Changes constantly. It's elusive. Slowly, if you are seated up, come on down. If you're holding your shin, lower it down. Everybody's going to be laying back down with the right leg crossed. And now I want you to let both knees drop over to the right. Yep, just a small twist. Come back. Uncross the right leg. I said, yeah, that was nothing. Thinking this is what happens when I'm thinking to myself. Left leg crosses on top of right. All right. Flex, not point. Flex toes. There you go. Left hand right here. If this is a lot for your outer left hip, great. Don't do anything further. Stay right here. From here, if you want more, hand slides in, grab shin, draw knee in. And if you like that, great. Stay here. If you're not a big fan of that, sit up. Bring your hands behind you. This is the same as any of the others I just showed you. And lastly, of course, basket, the legs, the left leg with the hands, straighten out the right leg. All three of these poses are stretching the same place. Foot stays active and flexed the entire time in any variation. That is your constant. Whichever variation you're in, find your way back onto your back with your left hand on your left thigh. Both knees fall over to the left. Slowly come on back to center. Lower the soles of the feet onto the mat. Draw the knees into the chest. Grab the outer edges of the feet. Stay right here or go right here for happy baby. Maybe you want to rock in your happy baby. Maybe some folks like that. Maybe you straighten one leg and then the other. Maybe you straighten both legs if you're comfortable doing that. Trying to draw the knees closer to the mat, but don't let the hips hike up. Pull them down. Bring the soles of the feet together and then lower them down. Let the knees drape open. Supta Baddha Konasana. Chin tucks into the chest. Spine long. Arms out by your sides. Stay here in Supta Baddha Konasana, recline butterfly pose, or straighten the legs, find Shavasana. If you close your eyes wherever you are, and allow your journey to begin inward to the vastness of space that is you. That is your consciousness. As you lie here and grounded in the earth, allow your conscious and your spirit to float. As you move through your week, know that life will require you to sometimes be in paradoxical situations, even with yourself, right? As you sit here with your breath and your mind, you do so to deepen your compassion and to deepen the well of your internal knowledge. But when you get off your mat, you have to take action. And yes, that means to be loving and to be compassionate, but it doesn't mean to be complacent. You can hold space for both. And that's where your true power lies. is to be able to be strong enough to do what needs to be done, but to do it from a place of intention, of thoughtfulness, of love, of kindness. To me, I think that's right action. There's nowhere to go and nothing else for you to do right now other than to be right here, fully present, both mind and body. Stay in your Shavasana as long as you like. I want to thank you for joining me on the mat today. It was my pleasure. Please let me know if you have any questions. Reach out, certainly. I'm here to support you. I want to thank you again. From my home to yours, namaste.